production, and I can see Brijesh is there. So yeah, Brijesh was my junior in college. We had worked on some projects together, and Asha is already known to me, but like by her work, we never got a chance to meet. So, but yeah, so like I'm looking forward to what she's going to like share here, and then might be some collaborations in the future.
Wonderful. So Dhruv, Asha is the chief program coordinator for this program. So he's leading the charge here, and so he's got a wonderful team accompanying him, and you'll hear from the other folks. So Keyur, you know him, but Keyur, once again, in terms of what you've been up to in the recent past, if you want to update Asha, I know you were chatting with her before, but anything more to add?
Not much actually. So I've already added everything that I've been to in the recent few months. So just a hi from me, and I hope you and your family are safe there in Ahmedabad. That's it. I also see 2, 3 more Rajiv Circle fellows here, Brijesh, Vinay.
Okay. And Asha, I was mentioning to you when we were interviewing Keyur, the thing that I was strongly, made me fight for him in the interview was that he was a Rajiv Cycle fellow. There were other qualified candidates, but since he was a Rajiv Cycle fellow, we said we should give him the benefit of the doubt, and that's how he joined the team. So thanks to you.
Absolutely.
Next, we go to Dhaval.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, I'm familiar with GTO.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dhaval. Next, we go to colleague at Action for India, Sindhuja. Sindhuja.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning, and really nice to have you here. And I'm probably listening to you for the first time, so I'm very excited. I work with Sanjay at Action for India. I've been here for about a year, so really nice to have you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Sindhuja.
you. Nice to meet you, Sindhuja. Nice to meet you.
Wonderful. So one entrepreneur we're going to hear from, I think there'll be others who will be joining in. I'd like to introduce Rahul BAKARE of Urdhvam. Rahul, a quick hello from you.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Rahul from Urdhvam Environmental Technologies Private Limited. We are a company based out of Pune, which is working on solving groundwater problems of India. And we have developed a unique product which revives the dead borewells and provides a tremendous amount of water to bottom of the pyramid farmers as well as habitations and villages. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Sindhuja, do we have any other entrepreneur right now? Yeah, I know that several others had registered, but I think we will, as the session goes on, maybe towards the middle or the end, we will hear from them. So a quick introduction of Asha. Asha is a very interesting person whom, all of you have heard of before, and I've had a fortune or a privilege of knowing her for a few years. And there are two things that catch her attention. It's ideas and people. And if you have
I see the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to put the thing here, full screen mode. Okay, so this is the first picture that you see is back from October 2017. This is at Asha's home in Atherton, California. And the people that you see behind her are our Silicon Valley Challenge Fellows from 2017. So,
sorry to interrupt, Sanjay. I think we have the first slide itself for Action for India. The screen is not moving.
Oh, it's not moving?
No.
Wow. Okay. I'm moving the screen here. Just a minute. So, thank you for pointing that out. I'm going to share this. Man. Wow. Maybe I'll see if this will work in this stuff. Just one moment here. Or maybe Sindhuja, can you share it from your screen? And do you have access to that?
Sanjay, actually, I'm on my phone, so.
Oh, okay. No problem. I'm just, this will just take a minute. I had it on my PDF thing here. Okay. Asha Jadeja, fix tech. Man. Stop share screen, and this is okay. Share. Okay, now do you see this?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Positive.
Just a minute. Okay. Last try, and we'll go with the ahead with the other ones if this doesn't work.
Otherwise, Sanjay, you could also give give an introduction to AFI and
yeah. So does this work now? Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, wonderful. Positive. Okay, this should work. So yeah, these are the Silicon Valley Challenge Fellows from 2017. Asha hosted us at a home in Atherton, and so even before that, back in 2014, I don't have a picture of that, but that's when Asha has kind of interacted with the first cohort of the Silicon Valley Challenge Fellows that we took to the Valley back in 2014. And this is a program very similar to what Asha runs with the Rajiv Circle Fellowship, where she invites high potential student entrepreneurs or recent graduates. She brings them to the Valley for a couple of weeks from India, from Pakistan, from even other countries in South Asia, and they have the opportunity to take in the Silicon Valley innovation ecosystem. In some sense, the AFI Silicon Valley Trek was inspired by what the Rajiv Circle Fellowship has been doing. And the next one is this is from 2018 in Mumbai, when Asha gave a virtual keynote address to the AFI Annual Forum. And then the next slide is from Davos earlier this year. We had a roundtable discussion with Jayesh Ranjan ji, Asha, and myself. And then the final picture I'm going to show you in this introduction is again with Ravi Narayan and Jayesh Ranjan. There were partnership discussions with the Telangana government, and you will hear a lot about this from Asha in terms of the role of government, according to Asha, in terms of how they can free the entrepreneurs and then set them on their scaling trajectories. So in Davos, we sowed the seeds for how the Motwani Jadeja Foundation could partner with one state government, that was the Telangana government, and take those entrepreneurs global. And again, Asha will have a chance to elaborate on that in her remarks. So this is the kind of association that we've had with Asha over several years. Asha has been generous with her time, with her resources, and more importantly, with her insights and encouragement. So I'm really grateful for Asha to kind of come here again and extend her time. And a quick introduction in terms of the formal introduction. Most of you are aware of the work, and the bio has been shared with all of you. But again, as I said, the thing that really captivates Asha's attention are interesting people, interesting ideas. I think should be as much at home in Renaissance Italy as she is in with 21st century Palo Alto or Atherton, California. So wonderful job in terms of getting the right people together, right ideas together, forming communities and launching events like the Maker Fest, launching even initiatives like the Rajiv Circle Fellowship, launching the Motwani Institute for Thought Leadership and Innovation. Incredible amount of good work that Asha has been doing. So without further ado, I want to hand over the mic to Asha to share her remarks, and then we'll have a Q&A with her. Thank you, Asha.
Sanjay, thank you for inviting me. Action for India has been an old partnership for a long time, for many years now. And I think what you are enabling right now, which is a partnership between somebody like myself and our foundation based in Silicon Valley, and this first pilot experiment that we are doing in India right now with the Telangana government. I think this is a very, very important initiative that you are kicking off, Sanjay, because this, I don't think, has been done in this formal manner, by grassroots folks like yourself at a state level. This is the first time that somebody like yourself is orchestrating from a distance this partnership between one state. Normally, what I do is I end up responding to people that reach out to me from the central government, and that's very different. Startup India, Action, other things that are Startup India, Invest India, and so on. So that's fine. But this is the first time that what you are enabling is this partnership with Telangana. And we have another, sort of enterprising gentleman like yourself in Gujarat, who is somebody called Hiranmay, he has also just started, enabling this partnership with Gujarat. This, I think, is probably the best way to go, rather than waiting for just the central government. The state, the partnership at a state level, at a state government level, is important. Why? Because the entrepreneurs are there. Even if the central government has the funds to kick off some partnerships with foreign global, regions and ecosystems, the funds are ultimately coming to the state. And from the state, they are going to the city level, and from the city, they are going into the incubator level. So it's very important that, there are a few things that I think all of you who are in India right now need to recognize and keep in mind. Very important, actually. One is that your taxpayer money is going to, let's say, central government, and we're talking thousands of crores, and that money ultimately trickles back to the states, right? Whether it is GST that you guys are paying, or you're paying income tax, or you're paying any kind of other tax, that tax money goes into certain coffers. It goes into, whether it's, it goes into certain buckets in India. And then that money is recycled back at a state level and at a district level and so on. So what I think what Indian entrepreneurs and Indian, enterprises and Indian incubators need to keep in mind is to start looking into these numbers first, is to look at, see, those of us who are investing 1 crore, 2 crores here, it's a drop in the bucket compared to what the Indian government has. Indian government is pitching in 4, 5, 6,000 crores for these various programs at different states, right? And what you guys need to do is really watch like a hawk, because this is your money. You need to ask the Indian government or the state government or the center or the district government as to how much money is getting allocated from which bucket and how much is coming in your direction towards your incubator. So right now, let's say what Sanjay is enabling right now is this partnership with IIT Hyderabad. And I think there is a blessing of NTR and Jayesh Kumar and some really good people there to enable this partnership. But I think it's even more important for you guys to dig into the numbers and say, okay, how much of that money sitting in, let's say 5,000 crores, how much of that is coming to Telangana? And from there, how much of it is coming to Hyderabad? From there, how much of that is coming to IIT Hyderabad? And so that it's critical to track that tax money, because that is your money, and you must know how to deal with it and how to lobby for access to that money. It's crucial that you do that. Sanjay, right now I'm not seeing the. Are you able to see me?
Yeah, very clearly, and I can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so I think that's what is crucial. That one is the tracking of the money. Second thing, it is also critical to remember right now that this is the time, this is a pivotal time in India right now, an unprecedented moment in history right now, where two major forces have conspired. I mean, I would even call it the universe has conspired to bring about a renaissance of Indian entrepreneurship. This is the first time in history that we have 2 or 3 major forces that have come together. And I'll list them right now. The first major force that has come together is the pandemic. Of course, it's hit the whole planet, but it's also hitting India. So because of the pandemic, there is going to be a different way in which we are going to be living, working, and learning. So these are 3 major verticals in which there are going to be extremely new opportunities, important new opportunities, huge opportunities that are going to arise for different kind of solutions. And startups can be in both sectors. They could be for profit, non-profit, it doesn't matter. Main thing, the question is, are you problem solving? Okay, that's the question. Are you problem solving? And if so, then that's what you want to fund that, or you want to really accelerate that. So first force is the pandemic, which I think is a gift. The second force that is hitting us right now is the incursion of China on the Ladakh borders. We Indians have been sitting there looking inward. Okay, we've been looking inward into the nation. We are looking at our domestic problems, but we are not looking at the fact that India is now an emerging global power. And we are not We have no pretense. I think Indians have no pretense to be a superpower. I don't think Modi government or anybody is pretending to be vying to be a superpower or anything like that. But the truth of the matter is we need to protect ourselves from other emerging regional powers like China. And the fact that we've had an attack from China onto an Indian border, and we've had for 30, 40 years, we've had Pakistan eating up POK on one side, and we've had China eating up Ladakh on the other side. This is an extremely scary situation. And this is something not to be taken lightly. So when Indian entrepreneurship is arising right now, we are not only just looking at substituting or stepping in where we have asked those 59 apps to go. Okay, it's not just those 59 apps. It's not just that void that we are looking to fill. Indian entrepreneurship must fill a void and must fill an alertness, must gather an alertness that tells us that we are watching our borders like hawks. We have a huge superpower arising right in our north. And that superpower is looking for more land for some reason and looking for more exercise of power in our region. This is something that our entrepreneurship will have to look at very carefully, because it will include things which are connected to satellite data. It will include real-time information about what's happening on the weather in our northern regions, what is happening at a different state level in the northern regions. These are crucial to Indian prosperity, whether it is for profit or non-profit. These are all crucial factors. So the number one, pandemic. Number two, the Chinese attack on Indian border. And number three, first time in history that we've had a government in the center, the Modi government right now, which is extremely open and friendly to the whole idea of startups. Modi government, whether it understands the startup government or not, is not the point. It's in principle, technically, it is friendly. And for the first time, what it has recognized, what the Modi government has recognized for the first time, is that the combination of pandemic and the attack of China on India, on Indian border, these two factors have woken them up. The central government is now awake to the fact that if Indian entrepreneurship is not allowed to grow as quickly as it is growing elsewhere in the world, then we are in trouble. So the proof of that is in the fact that the Modi government has allowed now both Facebook and Google to take a stake in Geo, number one, and number two, allowing Amazon to operate in India now with this whole the platform, the Amazon platform, allowing small and medium businesses to sell through India, through Amazon. So far, so remember, Vandi, so once again, I'm going to repeat. So it's the pandemic, the attack of Chinese forces on Indian border, and number three, an unprecedented openness by the Modi government to allow Facebook and Google into India. And now with Amazon also offering this platform, what I really want to reiterate is that at IIT Hyderabad, what you folks must keep in mind is that there is an unprecedented opportunity to bring some of our, the 65% of India, which is still rural and which is agricultural, to bring that 65% of India into the global mainstream. How do we do that? Now, the good news is that Amazon has opened the door, and people like Nitin Gadkari and the Amazon India have partnered to bring small and medium small and medium businesses onto the Amazon platform to sell globally. You have honey coming from Assam or Arunachal Pradesh or something like that in tons, which is being sold in the Western markets now to on a platform like Amazon. Amazon is just the first platform. I think that there is a massive opportunity for Indian startups to create another platform, a global platform like Amazon, that could be selling our products from small and medium businesses, whether it is jute products, whether it's agricultural, just general agricultural products, whether it's food products, whether it is crafts. These are things that can enable small and medium businesses in even from rural India, which again is 65% of India, even from rural India to go global. right now, it looks like we have already brought in $4 billion just selling from small and medium businesses. We've brought in $4 billion into India, and this is tip of the iceberg. Indian companies, Indian village products and agricultural products, rural products could be uh, selling globally, and these are platforms that are enabling this. This is crucial for you all to know, because what you need to do is enable that kind of a global marketplace, even from remote parts of India, because it's crucial to recognize that with entities like Geo and Google partnering now, even rural India is going to be having a global a foot in the door globally. And this is crucial because why is it important? Because Indian products are needed by multiple parties all over. You need these global products everywhere in any case. These are things that, as a global marketplace becomes one, Indian products, because of volume, quantity, quality, and its organic nature, could actually be a huge money spinner for us. It is important for us to make an impact on poverty in India. First thing we need is what? We need money in our pocket, right? First thing we need is some money in our pockets for us to make a dent in Indian poverty. And how do we get that? We have to make money from a global marketplace. We have to. You see, just trading within India is not going to work. So, in order for that, what you guys are going to be crucial for right now is in keeping an eye on what's happening in the Indian hinterland, in the interior parts of India, to say what is it that can enable some of these businesses which are in the rural or agricultural sectors also to come on the global platforms. So these are a few things that I think are important. Now, where does Silicon Valley come into the picture? Listen, you guys have us in your pockets. Those of us who are in the Silicon Valley, people like myself and of course a dozen others, who have been there, done that, and who have actually had success in what we do. You already have us in your pockets. You can have us giving you not just these few minor, Zoom calls. We are there to invest in India. We are there to partner with India. And like as Sanjay was just mentioning before, I've already started 8-9 years ago. We started this Rajiv Circle Fellowship, which enables Indian entrepreneurs to come to the Valley, stay there for anywhere from 2 months to 6 months, and have a permanent home there in Silicon Valley, so that you can partner with other like-minded entities or do fundraising or talk to other people who've done a lot of this in Silicon Valley for a long time. Now, why Silicon Valley? Because Silicon Valley is the engine of the planet. Right now, if Silicon Valley is moving at 5,000 miles an hour, let's say, it's a rocket ship, right? You all know that it's a rocket ship. 90% or 99%, I would say, of innovation, massive, impactful innovation is coming from the Valley in technology. I'm talking only in technology. That innovation, what the good news here is driven by Indians. Massive part of that innovation is driven by Indians. How can India afford to not partner with Silicon Valley, right? It's crucial that India partner with the Valley because it's the engine. It's moving at 5,000 miles an hour. The second fastest engine that's moving in terms of innovation, I would say, is probably Israel or Boston. Israel and Boston are probably at 500 miles an hour. Just in terms of analogy, if the Valley is moving at 5,000 miles an hour, Israel and Boston are moving at 500 miles an hour, order of magnitude slower. The good news is that 5,000 miles an hour engine is run by Indians, is largely managed, run by Indians, and Indians are the core of Silicon Valley DNA. You guys have a natural pipeline to Indians in the Silicon Valley, and you must leverage that. And this is an unprecedented moment in India in history for India, for Indian startups and for Indian businesses and Indian entrepreneurs to really get your foot in the door in the global marketplace and connect to the Valley. And you have people there like, you have Brijesh Kumar. First of all, you have Sanjay. You have Sanjay from Action for India, who is based in Hyderabad, who can connect us in a very meaningful way. You must do that. And then you have a whole bunch of Rajiv Circle fellows that you can individually partner with. Some of them are working for Action for India. Some of them are working now for IZIA or the incubators there. Please reach out to them and partner with them in making sure that you understand the valley and you understand why is it important, why it's important to connect to the valley, even for social impact companies. As far as foundations go, Sanjay, I don't know if your teams over there know, but the Motwani Jadeja Foundation is focused on India. Our main focus target of attention right now is India. It's Indian startups, it's Indian entrepreneurs, and it's Indian, even sort of non-profits that we can. So we are always looking for brilliant entrepreneurs, but we are also looking for fantastic non-profits like yours, like Action for India, which is doing the kind of work that we can't even dream of right now because you're on the ground. So, for example, the entrepreneurs that I met through you, Sanjay, I mean, those are people already making enormous impact in India. And the Motwani Foundation is thrilled and honored to be part of that in accelerating you and thereby accelerating those entrepreneurs who are already having an impact in India. And, that's a shortcut for us. Which are having a huge footprint already in India on the ground, and we can simply piggyback. So you have multiple partners in India that you can reach out to. You don't have to reach out to me or anybody else in the Silicon Valley. You already have Akshay Patra, Pratham, AIF, Action for India, America India Foundation. These are all entities that you can directly partner with and reach out. But it's important that you start leveraging the momentum of the valley. So with that, I will. I will let Sanjay coordinate some of the Q&A, but I think this is an unprecedented moment in history for India and for Indians, for Indian entrepreneurs. You must right now strike while the iron is hot. You must do that. Get your foot in the door and do anything. I mean, in terms of just the main action to take is to problem solve. Look at what's happening in your own community. What is the problem? And how can you solve the problem? Whether it's clean water, whether it is bringing solar energy, these are things that you can start with. And once you get your foot in the door of entrepreneurship, it'll that's you'll never look back.
Wonderful. Thank you, Asha. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions, and you can build on top of some of the things that you introduced in your remarks. So, folks, whoever is interested in asking a question, please use the raise hand feature or start jotting down your question in the chat section, and I'll pull you in. So until you start doing that, initial few questions from me, Asha. Again, the title of the talk was in terms of leveraging the Silicon Valley mindset and resources for scaling social impact in India. And again, you mentioned that a disproportionate chunk of the technology companies in the Valley are led by Indians. And the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in the Valley, and you've you've invested in more than 200 companies until now. You've seen entrepreneurs in the Valley, you've seen entrepreneurs in India. Just to compare and contrast with these entrepreneurs, if you were to give some advice to the entrepreneurs in India in terms of how they can aim high, how they can achieve as much or more than what you've seen in the Valley, where do you find them wanting, and what advice, what do you want them to focus on?
Only thing missing right now, Sanjay, in India, in Indian entrepreneurs compared to Silicon entrepreneurs, Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, is that the ecosystem is not yet as mature in India yet. But I do see that in Gurgaon, in Bangalore, in Pune, various places like that in Bombay, the entrepreneurial ecosystem is growing fast. I mean, we are, I think Indian entrepreneurs are just maybe now 2 to 3 years behind. Not really that behind anymore. So I think, and the the quality of Indian entrepreneurs is the same as in Silicon Valley. It's just that we need to have the confidence and understand that it is your Indian brothers and sisters who are here in the Valley, and we are fully geared right now to see you succeed. And so so that partnership and that connection is important. But I think more importantly, the mindset that Sanjay was just referring to is that of abundance. The mindset of abundance, what it does is it basically enables you to think in a win-win way. In sort of zero sum, you are talking win-win. You're saying that if if my competitor wins, I win. That is the biggest gift that the Silicon Valley can bring to the Indian mindset, which is that it is, the success of another party is your success. Because overall, you see, the Valley succeeded because everybody celebrated each other's success. There was never a sense that somebody else winning means I'm losing. Never. Because in the game of technology, the whole game theoretic scenario shifts from being a zero sum to win-win.
One of your good friends in the Valley, this gentleman who runs AngelList, Naval Ravikant, in a recent podcast, he came up with this wonderful line: innovation is the child of freedom and the parent of prosperity. I'd love you to get your take on what he said. And especially in light of the fact that you keep mentioning about how the babus of India are strangling the entrepreneurs. They need more freedom and they need, to be given the ability to scale and all that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. He is spot on, Sanjay. What Naval Ravikant talks about is he's spot on about the fact that their entrepreneurship cannot happen unless there's freedom. There is mental, emotional, at first freedom that needs to be there is the mental, physical freedom. An entrepreneur typically comes out of his or her bedroom, or his or her garage, or grandma's extra room. Remember, an entrepreneur never comes out from an incubator. Typically, an entrepreneur comes out from a dorm. Then, yes, maybe they can leverage an incubator to say, how do I incorporate a company? What is a term sheet? Simple logistical things like that. But real entrepreneurs come from their bedrooms or for their dorms. Okay, and then they can leverage other resources. So that's one thing. But Sanjay, your question right now was about what was the question again? Oh, about Naval. So yes, look, as Sanjay was just saying about Naval Ravikant, he's one of the most distinguished, one of the most important and visionary investors in Silicon Valley. You must follow every word that he says. Naval Ravikant is also the founder of AngelList. Sign up for his Twitter page or wherever he posts his stuff. He's one of the most brilliant entrepreneurs that I have ever met. And his idea that entrepreneurs, a true entrepreneurship, is a child of freedom and innovate and
parent of prosperity.
Parent of prosperity. Absolutely, it is a spot on thing. And why do we need that freedom? Why does an entrepreneur need a freedom? Think of an entrepreneur, Sanjay, as a little shoot that is coming out of the ground. Okay, it's a little, you see, from when a little seed sprouts, it is a little, 3 millimeter shoot that is coming out of the ground. And that beautiful shoot of coming from a seed has to be protected. Okay, it's very important that it is protected in the beginning by the ecosystem. The ecosystem must recognize that when an entrepreneur emerges from that dorm room or from their bedroom, that entrepreneur is like a little shoot coming out of a seed in a forest. And it has to be protected because it's magical. It is an expression of life itself. And a lot of entrepreneurs are, they might come across as dreamers in the beginning. They might come across as like, look, this person is just dreaming of creating the next Flipkart or the next, Akshay Patra for that matter. But it is that in that madness and in that crazy dreaming of that entrepreneur that great ideas arise. So why something like Naval Ravikant's talk is important is that unless that freedom, the environment gives you that freedom, you don't, that mental opening that needs to come about, it's difficult to orchestrate if one doesn't have a freedom. If you're sitting there in a government office, it's going to be almost impossible to come up with a solution. So it's crucial that there is freedom there. Yeah.
Just to build on top of what you said, and there are a few questions coming up, we'll go to the questions really after this. So again, when you talk of government, in most places, and even India, the general mainstream media, the perception is, hey, government means corruption, government means red tapeism or bureaucracy, and keep them at arm's length if you're an entrepreneur and things like that. But at least in social entrepreneurship and the social development, the government is such a powerful distribution channel for products and services. If you don't proactively find points of intersection, don't proactively find ways to work with the government, you will not achieve any significant scale on your own. So how do you, given your kind of hesitation or skepticism about what government can do, how do you advise entrepreneurs to navigate this fine line?
You have to, Sanjay. In India, there is no way to bypass the government except for the. So I think on distribution, you are absolutely right. That distribution channels are always, are already robust because the government is there. What is a good democratic government's role, right? A true good democratic government, what it does, it enables local businesses, local entrepreneurship to emerge, and then it steps back. So I think Indian government right now is becoming much more savvy with that. The good news is that in the good old days, there might have been some sense that, to micromanage a little bit. But I think now what you see is that the Indian government is beginning to recognize that it needs to step back. Now, again, there's different levels. At a central level, it's a different matter. You have people like Niti and all that recognize now that they need to step out of the startup business. Give the money, fund the startups, but then you step out. You never ever play a role in that. But in the state government level, I'm beginning to recognize that people know now, people understand. Like I spoke to this Mr. Natarajan, who is an IAS officer in the Gujarat cadre. And it was pretty clear that he recognized, or Jayesh Ranjan, they recognized that it's important for the government to enable entrepreneurship, but then to step out. And you are right that the distribution channels right now are at the purview of the government. So it's crucial to leverage the government. Now, the government is a dual-edged sword in India. In some segments, again, I don't want to paint with one brush, with one color here. There are different, by districts, there are variations by districts. There are some governments that recognize the importance of growth and they step out of the way. But there are some governments or some offices which might be old-fashioned. It doesn't understand that it needs to step out of the way for businesses to arise. Those need to be nudged along in the right way. And people like myself can talk about this from outside because we have no axe to grind. But I think things are improving, Sanjay. I think things are moving in the right direction right now, in India. It's very good to see this. And I really think it has to do with the pandemic and the Chinese attack. People are waking up. People are waking up.
Thank you. We'll go to the audience now. And before you ask your question, please state your organization and the location if you can. We'll first go to Jay. Jay Epan.
Hello.
Jay, can you switch on the video if you can, so that we can see you when you're asking the question?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Hi.
Yeah, just your organization, location, and the question.
Hi, Asha. Hi, this is Jay here. I'm from Hyderabad. So our organization is called as Bright Camp. So we are a talent discovery platform wherein we look at discovering talent of children in the K-12 segment outside academics. When I mean outside academics, so the idea is basically India having such a large population, in the second largest populated country, still in Olympics, if you know that we lag behind, way behind. We are not even in the top 35. That doesn't mean that India has a dearth of talent, but we are looking at basically trying to discover the talent and document and record it in a manner wherein at least we are able to understand that across various other groups, let it be performing arts, creative arts, sports, community service, which kid is good at what, So at least at an early stage, if we are able to identify that, we can look at from the academic institution standpoint, we can help the academic institutions understand that, hey, outside the STEM form of education, also there are various other talents can be encouraged. So that is what we are trying to do. So right now, though, we are trying to position ourselves as a for-profit organization. Started off in the month of January. Unfortunate about the COVID situation, we aren't able to kind of deep penetrate much into the education system. But having said that, we would definitely look at try to be an impact venture wherein we are able to do the slice and dice of the talent across demographic in the age group of the K-12 segment and help the government understand where the talent lies and how. So we would like to kind of leverage whatever possible resources, let it be in India, in Silicon Valley, in the US, or whatever. If you can just give us some guidance and help us understand, okay, fine, you are like kind of thinking it right or probably not. that would be a great help, Asha.
Thank you, Jay.
Sure, Jay. I think the best way, given the scale in India, right, given the volume of number of students that you'll be looking at,
right.
there is, the best way, the shortcut to figuring out and identifying that kind of talent is through AI.
Okay.
What is really amazing these days is because there is so much AI available off the shelf also, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Through AI, as the student learns, as the student works on certain problems,
right.
Whether it's in math and science, I think math and science might be the easiest way to sort of start evaluating because it's black and white.
Right.
So as children work on math and science problems, so if you go to khanacademy.org,
right.
khanacademy.org, if you have a third grade student, right, or fourth grade student, or fifth grade, you have that student work on a set of problems, and it starts giving you feedback on what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths.
Right.
But it also starts grading the students in terms of their own level of capability. So if you just look at the AI, being the artificial intelligence being used by the Khan Academy alone, you will see that it is very easy to filter out and start sort of identifying who are the real talented students there.
Right.
I am, for example, one of the supporters of something called Foundation for Excellence, FFE, which is based out of Silicon Valley, but it supports talented students from India. It actually literally has developed its own algorithms now for finding some of the top students from high school students graduating from Indian slums.
Wow.
And these kids are now coming and running important operations at Apple in the Valley. I just met somebody who is at Apple and was coming from an extremely poor background in India, but Foundation for Excellence had filtered out and had identified that student and had accelerated them to the extent where they could come to the Valley and play an excellent role. I mean, just from scratch, from the ground up. They didn't even have to come for graduate school like how the rest of us did. So the use of artificial intelligence programs available out there is a must.
Yeah.
So Jay, begin with that. And once you have some knowledge there, then reach out to something like Sanjay and Action for India to find out the next steps, and our team can help with the next steps.
Sure.
Thank you, Asha. Folks, there are a lot of questions. So when you're asking a question, please come straight to the point, keep your question brief so that we can get to as many questions as possible. We give a preference to the entrepreneurs from Asia. So just be mindful of that. First person I'd like to invite is Dinesh Koka of a health tech startup by the name Onward Assist. Dinesh, over to you.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Asha, so much for your time and the inspiring messages and suggestions. My name is Dinesh Koka. I run a startup called Onward Assist. We are primarily a cancer analytics platform, and we are building this through clinical collaborations with cancer institutes. And we primarily leverage deep tech technologies, AI and ML. You mentioned, the best startups leverage, the best way to go about would be to leverage collaborations with other startups and ventures within the ecosystem. So I just want to take your suggestions. Do you have any suggestions on what is the best way to go about ventures with the synergies or the right mindset, and also connect with experts, because we do feel that would be the right way for us to grow as well. Thanks.
What would be, right, Dinesh, what would be your own top 3 dream partnerships that you are thinking? Who do you think that you would partner with as a cancer research startup? Who are those top three entities that you need to identify? I would say maybe identify top 10, and of that, who are the first 3 that who do you think would be your top 3 dream partnerships that you think will be non-threatening, so they'll be collaborative, or even if they could even be competitive to some extent, but they should understand. See, the modern day competition is actually co-opetition, what people call co-opetition, which is it's cooperative and yet it's competitive. But they know that unless they partner with a bunch of similar like-minded companies, that they will themselves not be obsolete. So who would you say are your top 3 partnerships, dream partnerships?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah. So, obviously our dream partnership would be, startup platforms or health tech platforms, which already do, we work on cancer pathology images, right? Slides, biopsies, and immunohistochemistries. So obviously health tech platforms which already do a good job in terms of aggregating patient data. Not necessarily EHR platforms, but something similar, because which already tap into the clinical ecosystem, especially when you're talking about Silicon Valley or the US because that obviously they have a platform, but they're not necessarily into our area, right? Not necessarily into pathology. So, if we can,
Dinesh, have you done any research and have you got specific organizations that you can share with Asha? Have you done any basic research and identified a wish list of organizations?
So there are a couple at least. So one is, Inference, which is a startup platform being built out of Mayo Clinic. One. The second is there are multiple pathology platforms itself. One is who already built.
You're breaking up, Dinesh. Dinesh, this is
like
why don't you switch off your video? We can't hear you clearly.
Is one, right? Kind of an enterprise platform. Inference is a health data platform built out of Mayo Clinic. Second is someone like Chorister. Chorister is more a pathology workflow. They already manage a lot of imaging data, right? Cancer pathology imaging, right? But primarily only on workflow. They don't necessarily do analytics. So those are a couple of, if you say dream partnerships, because one Inference.
I got it. Now, Dinesh, are you in the middle of? Have you tried to reach out to them? I want to understand how does this. Have you, because these days in this globally connected world, it doesn't matter where you're sitting, physically where you're sitting. Have you tried to reach out to them and look into partnership possibility?
Actually, no, Asha. No, we haven't reached out. We haven't tried reaching out to them and actually proposing. I guess the thing with we're kind of skeptical as to would they respond at all. Maybe that's my honest answer.
Listen. So this is where you need the confidence, Dinesh. What you need is the confidence to know that in this globally. First of all, remember that 99%. There's going to be exactly people, the Indians like you and me, who will be sitting in those companies. Remember that if the company has any tech component to it or any science component, chances 99% you will have in their business development, marketing, or tech team. 99% it'll be people like you and me.
Hello.
So reaching out to them it's going to be. I mean, don't have any any resistance or any doubt that you can easily. You really need to pick up the phone, email people, and start calling. That said, there is a whole bunch of other US-India partnership entry platforms. I think there's one of them is called US-India, US ISPF. I don't know exactly what it stands for, but it's one of those again.
It's a strategic partnership forum. US-India strategic forum.
Yeah. So these are all entities that are enabling. The second, of course, most important is TIE. So to reach out to somebody at TIE and get those, get advice from some of the TIE members to see who in the TIE. So TIE has multiple sort of verticals that they deal with. So one of them is health tech. You will have to talk to somebody so make sure that you attend TIECon this year, Dinesh. You must attend TIECon, which I think happens in September or something. It's a virtual TIECon. Attend that and understand who are the people in the global health ecosystem, and reach out to those people first at TIE. And then through that, you can also accelerate your own efforts in reaching these two companies that you're trying to reach out. But really, it's as easy as picking up a phone these days. 99% expect people like you and me there.
Wonderful. Thank you, Asha. Professor Venkatesham, can you hear me? I see him on the call. Maybe I'll pull him in later. But Dhruv, I saw a raised hand from you. Do you want to go ahead with your question?
Yeah. So, Asha, my personal experience. So, I have been a design fellow at Stanford, and in my company as well, I had 6 people not from India, from other countries. And I'd seen a very different culture of teamwork in particularly the Valley people, whereas that is somewhat lacking in India. So what do you think is the main reason of it? So one thing I figured out was the sports. So like sports people play over there are much more team sports than we play over here. There are certain similar things. So what do you think cultural changes are required in India so that the next generation of entrepreneurs will be much, much better?
I think you raise a very important point about sports. You see, sports in the US is part of the DNA growing up. Kids grow up in schools with basketball, softball, and football. At the very least, there are teams. There are swimming teams. There are these football teams and so on. and people grow up playing these games, and there are, and then when people go to a college level, you're right that again there is a big sort of a, like Stanford, Berkeley, the competition between Stanford University and Berkeley football teams is legendary, or basketball teams, it's legendary. I mean, thousands of people show up for that, and it's millions of billions of dollars in earning and expense that happens around games. And you're absolutely right that that's something that needs to be cultivated in India. It's happening, but it should be recognized as an important cultural element that can enable that whole thinking of teamwork, partnership, and and things like that. Right now, sports is not, as somebody just mentioned earlier, we don't have anybody in the Olympics. Why? Because nobody has paid attention to sports. But are you familiar with something called Olympic Gold Quest?
Yes, I'm a little bit familiar about that.
Good. It is started by Geet Sethi and Prakash Padukone. And what they do is they really just go around the country looking for some of the top sports talent, and they want to make sure that our kids are participating in the Olympics, thereby putting shining a spotlight on sports. So it's a very good thing that these initiatives like the Olympic Gold Quest are happening. But it's going to take a few years. I think it's going to take another 8, 10, 15 years before Indian sports takes off, but it's a very good start.
Okay, wonderful. I just want to invite Professor Venkatesham. Professor Venkatesham, as I mentioned to you, he leads ITIC Foundation, and they've got a bunch of incubators, accelerators, including Asia. They have a Center for Healthcare Entrepreneurship. They've got a deep tech incubator. So Professor Venkatesham, on the basis of your experience of dealing with entrepreneurs on campus, Asha, is a individual from the Valley. In terms of what is your wish list in terms of how somebody like Asha can help you engage with the activities of ITIC Foundation? In what way can she engage?
Okay, thank you, Sanjay. Just like I have 2 points to bring your notice, Asha. It's very nice and very inspirational and very clear. I'm able to see clear thoughts in your discussion. It was a great presentation, and
thank you.
Your thoughts. My first question is, and we have so many tech-based startups. And right now, these tech-based startups, they try to look at it within India market and outside India market. So most of our academic incubators are trying to operate within India. Okay. So is there any model, like as ambassadors like you, or like is there any chance to have a collaborated incubators? Means like means we can explore the global market. Means our startups can explore the global market as part of the tie-up with the incubator. So you can plug in, they come to your incubator. It means whatever the country, then matter outside India, just on representation of this academic incubator, they can plug in and try to explore the market 1 or 2 months there. And if it's working in the directions, they can graduate from the incubator, vice versa. So anybody wants to explore Indian market, they can come back and integrate with our incubator and plug in for 2 to 3 months and go back. So this is the model. Is like, what is your comments on this model? Okay,
wonderful.
Yes, no, I think that's the only way to go, Venkatesham. Okay, this is the only way to go. We'll have to have these collaborations. Now, the good news is, till now we used to think that the global markets, are strong, and that the Indian market has to connect just globally. It's not one way anymore. Now, as you can see from the interest that people like Google and Facebook and Amazon have had in having a presence in India, why is that so? It's because the Indian market is huge. Once we have freedom in India, once we have the government recognizing that Indian growth is paramount right now, it's, and that it needs to step back and get Indian businesses to take charge globally. Once this tsunami begins, it's going to be impossible to end the growth or slow down growth in India. Once that happens, you're going to find already there's a scramble of companies from Silicon Valley, American companies that want to come into India. Why? Because the Indian market is huge. And as entities like Jio get into the last mile of Indian consumer base, I think it's going to be a massive influx of interest from abroad. So both ways, the incubator or the partnership that you were asking about just now, it's already there, by the way. There are already between, various Thai chapters and between, our own foundation, between Action for India and a whole bunch of other entities that form a bridge between India and abroad. There is already a lot of that action going on, but it's crucial that this globalization happen in India very quickly. One of the things I do, Venkatesham, is I get my, some of the most promising entrepreneurs out of India. I put them all on one airplane and get them into the valley to come and hang out in the valley with all of us for anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months. Actually, some of them stay, for much longer because they have partnerships in the pipeline. But the second thing I've started doing now is I've started getting groups of people to, take a flight straight to Hong Kong. And from Hong Kong, they take a 2-hour train ride to Shenzhen. I want them to see what's happening in Shenzhen. That kind of manufacturing needs to happen in India. And there is no better way than plunging people into that new ecosystem abroad. It is a must. We must invest our money into getting these young entrepreneurs into these ecosystems abroad. They must go open the door, take a look, talk to people, build those relationships and come back. So it's money well spent if we can do that. And IIT Hyderabad must do that. It's important to have, if nothing else, people go up to Shenzhen, number one. And then if the funding is available, they must go to Silicon Valley and in person spend 2-3 weeks there. And we are happy to enable that. In fact, I think talk to Sanjay, he's right there next to you. Sanjay can enable those partnerships very quickly, but it's crucial that these kids get on an airplane and quickly go to Shenzhen and the Silicon Valley, at the very least. There are other places too, but let's start with these two.
A quick follow-up.
Second question.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Professor.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Second question. At this moment, actually, our startup ecosystem in India is a 2 parts. Okay, 2 different classes of. Majority of these startups are working for India. Okay, and the social impact startups ideally is supposed to work for Bharat. Okay, Bharat is at a rural places. So the bottom of the pyramid should really served by our startups. So I call it as a startups working for India, startups working for the Bharat, right? So when the startups working for Bharat, so as you rightly said, like the complexities involved, especially if you try to get a business with the bottom of the pyramid with Bharat, what we are happening is there are 2 hurdles we are seeing. One is the bureaucracy, second one is politicians. Okay, the politicians and bureaucracy is like a interlocked in a Bharat comparatively in India.
Right.
So, what is your thought process? How to make overcome this obstacle when you try to do business in Bharat?
Yeah. So, Venkatesh, there is no such thing as working for Bharat. If you are working, if you are an Indian sitting in India and you're working for Bharat. Whether you're selling to Japan or whether you're selling to US market or you're selling to China, doesn't matter. You are bringing money home. You see, you're working for Bharat. You don't have to be selling to the bottom of the pyramid. In fact, if you are selling to the bottom of the pyramid, you're going to die. There is no money there. Our startups have to sell to a place where they can afford to pay. So when you are selling abroad, you're working for Bharat.
No, sorry. What I mean, Bharat India means urban population. Bharat means rural population, not outside India.
No,
my definition of India is that.
Anywhere you Bharat, listen, Bharat is an idea. Bharat is a civilization. Okay, as long as you are working. Let's say you're sitting in a small village in Gujarat. Okay. And churning out something that's like a fancy solar light, solar system, or solar lighting or water purification, whatever it is. As long as you're working, you are adding to the Bharat pie. Remember, this is right now what India needs. We are a very poor country. Remember, we are not a rich country yet. First thing we need to do is we need to bring money in our pocket. How do we bring money into Indian pockets? How do we grow? We cannot grow unless we sell to deep pockets abroad. It's a must, and that is the real Bharat. That's the real Bharat that you are. If you want to really do something for Bharat, sell abroad. Bring the money home. Make a dent in the Indian poverty first. Okay, that is it's a we are 5 times less GDP compared to China right now. Why is that so? It's because we are not selling abroad.
Thank you.
So if you want to do anything for Bharat, sell abroad. Bring the money home.
Thank you. Thank you.
Slightly, tangentially related to this earlier answer, Asha, you have, you know the IIT system. Rajiv was a alumnus of IIT Kanpur, and you know Sudhir Jain, Professor Sudhir Jain at IIT Gandhinagar. Is there anything that you want to share with the IIT ecosystem in terms of what can they do in terms of if they want to get additional support from the Valley or from the diaspora? How can they make it easier for the diaspora to engage with IIT ecosystems?
So Sanjay, the IIT network of, the IIT network in general, IIT Kanpur, IIT Madras, Bombay and Delhi, especially these 4, they are the most powerful network globally. This network is what sustains the Silicon Valley. You see, there's a reason why IITians now run foreign companies. Why is Google and Alphabet run by an IITian? You see, it's not accidental. Or somebody like Satya Nadella, Bits Pilani guy running Microsoft. Why is that so? It's because they are part of a very powerful network. There, Sanjay, we don't need to do anything.
Okay.
What is even new IITs like IIT Gandhinagar or IIT Hyderabad? Already, like if you look at IIT Gandhinagar, which is relatively new compared to Kanpur or Delhi or Bombay, is run by Sudhir Jain. What do you see? Sudhir Jain is every few months he's on an airplane to the US. Why is that so? Because he has set up an IIT Gandhinagar Foundation in Silicon Valley, and what that foundation does is raises money from people, ex-IITians and plus folks like myself, to endow that foundation so that he can double and triple the salaries of IIT professors. That man has done a brilliant job of raising money in Silicon Valley by foreigners like us, and that money then goes into doubling, tripling, quadrupling the salaries of some of the IIT faculty that he's recruiting from fresh graduates from MIT or UC Berkeley and so on. And those fresh graduates are going to IIT Gandhinagar. They are competing, so he's competing against Stanford and MIT to recruit the top faculty. And what he has done, he's bypassed the Indian government now. He said, you know what, I'm going to double and triple the salaries of my professors. And he's raised funds right now. There is an IIT Gandhinagar Foundation in the US, which helps him, double and triple those salaries. So the IITs are the most powerful network on the planet. They really don't have to do much. IIT Hyderabad, which is a new one, must plug in to the existing IIT networks. The Pan IIT network, for example, which is there, Pan IIT has chapters all over the world. IIT Hyderabad must plug into the Pan IIT network. These networks are so powerful. These are some of the best people on the planet, not just India. They are the best people on the planet, and the whole world is seeking to steal some of these best minds from India. And why not? Yeah. Look at us in the Silicon Valley. The valley is run by IITians.
That's true. Next question, we go to Smita Mishra. Smita.
Thank you so much, Sanjay, for giving me this fan moment with Asha. Thanks, Asha, for the encouraging talk. I have happened to meet you once a couple of years back at a Thai event. Unfortunately, of course, I couldn't get a one-on-one time with you. So I'm very glad I get to ask this question. So I'm actually, Asha, building a SaaS platform which helps enterprises to maintain, measure, and monitor their progress on sustainable development goals, the ones that naturally align to their businesses and overall their sustainability impact. So my question for you is two-part. One is, how do you currently measure the impact of your portfolio companies? And the second is, as an investor, do you see value in such a platform that will comprehensively capture and help improve the impact on SDGs for all your investee firms?
So that's a good question, Smita. As a venture capitalist, my interest is not in any impact. My interest is in making money. Okay. When I invest in a company, what is the question I'm asking? I'm saying if I invest $100 in a particular company, am I going to make $1,000 out of it? And if I do, that's wealth creation. And my job is done. Now, as far as impact goes, yes, I would love to see that return on investment get recycled into investing in other young startups. And that's what I do. But when you begin, when a good venture capitalist begins, your first laser focus should be, is this company going to make it, number one? And is it going to make me money? Is it going to double and triple my investment? In fact, those people who might have invested in something like Google, even if you invested $100, you're going to come out at a few million in your pocket, even if you just put in $100. So you are always, as a venture capitalist, you are always looking for the next Google. That said, what all of us do is when we make that kind of return on investment, most of us recycle that money into other startups. And I think the impact is not, for me, impact is not as important as investing in other entrepreneurs that are going to succeed. So for me, investing in success of entrepreneurs is the best impact I can have.
Thank you, Asha. Next, we go to Jay Bharti. Again, state your organization and your location, Jay Bharti.
Yeah. Hi, thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Asha, for wonderful insights. It's really, very, very insightful for many young entrepreneurs like us. Like you said, all of us dream, and in that dream phase, we often get carried away as to are we doing right. But you've given such wonderful insights. Thank you for that. So my question to you is, I am a motorcycle rider out of passion. I've just been in the US. I did a 11,000 mile across US just before COVID. I'm glad I did that. But what I've seen in most of my journeys in the developed countries is there are a lot more women in mobility, which is what is lacking in a country like India and many other underdeveloped countries. So I started more social initiatives where our focus is to enable more women into mobility. Now, currently we are not for profit, but we will have a private arm as well for investment purposes and other fleet services. So all those is there. So our focus is not just we are based out of Hyderabad, India, but in the next 2 or 3 years, we're already starting some discussions. We would also like to get into the underdeveloped countries, especially in some countries in Africa, what we have identified. So as an Indian startup, be it a for-profit or a non-for-profit, if we want to expand globally, you have seen so many markets. So what are the structure level thought process we need to have right here at the dream level before even, we make it much big, so that, after 3 years, I don't have to go back and, shuffle or, change our strategies. Are there any key points which we need to keep in mind when we are, especially in the social impact segment?
So this space is personally of interest to me, Jay. I'm actually interested in the whole idea of women's mobility, and I'll tell you why. Let me give you an example. There is a company that I'm looking at in Pakistan right now. It is called Gharpar. It is Gharpar, and it is run by a friend of mine called Shamila Ismail. She's based out of Lahore. What she has done is a very interesting thing. She has given women mopeds, okay, and she trains them to do beauty parlor things at home. So women who normally make 8,000 rupees, and we are talking Pakistani rupees, right? Literally peanuts. Women who make 8,000 rupees a month, once they are given training to go home to people's homes and do manicure, pedicure, facial, stuff like that, and they have a moped. So they not only just teach them the skills, they already have the skills of doing some of these manicures, pedicures. But what is amazing is that they now have a moped. Do you know the income of those women in Lahore goes up from 8,000 rupees to close to 40,000 rupees now. So look at that company. Okay, that company Gharpar has empowered women just through the simple act of mobility. And that simple act not only has increased their income 5 times, but it has also given them confidence to say maybe they can drop their children to school.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe they can pick up groceries themselves. Maybe they can take their elderly parent to the hospital themselves.
So in our first batch, in fact, when we thought, we had a 58-year-old lady. It was always her dream to do her own things, and nobody was there to teach her how to ride a two-wheeler. So when we started a pilot batch, that was the level of confidence. I totally agree. Thank you.
No, this is very important. And the second thing I want you to look at is something called pink rickshaw. Think pink rickshaw also, I think, started in Lahore. And it's a very interesting thing where they teach these women how to learn to drive a rickshaw. And then when other women need a rickshaw, so Pakistan is a very different society from ours, right? It's much more conservative, and women will not go out and just take a rickshaw or a taxi that easily, especially in smaller towns. So having a pink rickshaw allows women to actually call a rickshaw and go drop their child to school. So look at just both these. It's just a starting point, Gharpar and pink rickshaw, and please reach out to me.
Sure, definitely.
I don't know how. I mean, maybe do you know how to reach out to? Huh?
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
Sanjay.
I'll take Sanjay's email. I mean, your email from Sanjay and write a detailed email.
Yeah, or you could even reach out to me at Asha or just Asha Jadeja at Gmail. Okay, reach out to me at Asha Jadeja at Gmail, or actually reach out to Chandni at Mitli, MITLI. Chandni best is Chandni at mitli.com. Reach out to Chandni and let me know how you are progressing. I'm very interested in your space, Jay. So thank you for reaching out to me.
Thank you. So
wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we go to Brijesh. Brijesh, over to you.
Hi, Brijesh.
Hello, everyone. So I'm just here to say hi. I'm doing good. Like, I was connected with Asha from 2014, and what I really enjoy is her way of giving exposure to people. So this community started Maker Fest culture. It was very simple concept, bringing creative guys just for 3 days and unko chhod do aapas mein. They enjoyed it so much. I loved it so much. So what I did next was I brought tribal kids from. I heard Asha brings kids from India to foreign. I thought I'll also give an exposure. I bring tribal kids from Madhya Pradesh forest to Ahmedabad, and they just loved it. Now when they went back and they enjoy activities. So I'm just promoting. I'm involved in these things, and I'm just promoting things, and I'm gradually learning and understanding. I'm just glad to be here and connected. No question from my side. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you for this.
Thank you,
Brijesh. Brijesh has been a very important part of our Rajiv Circle Fellowship, and just like how people come from urban areas to Silicon Valley, Brijesh brings some of the smartest entrepreneurs from tribal regions into big cities and gives them that exposure. Wonderful. This is and for me, this is so inspiring to see that I might have given some interesting ideas to somebody brilliant like Brijesh, and this is what we all dream of, right? Of that we are enabling millions of such seeds of entrepreneurship. Thank you for
I want to share a case study. In tribal area, when I was there, kids used to understand their village. Their village is a state, and their district is a capital. So when they first time went to a bus, they were shocked कि सोने वाली बस होती है, लोहे के चक्के होते हैं ट्रेन में, और ऐसा टॉयलेट होता है जो चलता फिरता टॉयलेट है ट्रेन में. So for me that was the first time exposure. उनको कैसे मतलब छोटे बच्चे एक्साइट हो जाते हैं, तो उनको ड्रेस दो, सर्दियों के कपड़े दो, फिर मेकअप फेस्ट में ले जाओ, फिर लोगों से मिलने में थोड़ा हिचकिचाते रहे. But they opened up. The skateboarders, they opened up. Now, and once they are back from that space, back to their tribal area, they enjoy. Now they are very सामने से आके खुद से बात करते हैं, कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल थोड़ा हाई हो जाता है. So बस यही सब चीजें हैं. I really enjoy.
You sparked their imagination, Brijesh, and that's what we need to do at scale. Millions of such bright minds need to be, their imagination needs to be fired up, and once that happens, India is unstoppable.
Thank you, Asha. There are a few more questions. Rohini Mehra next. Rohini, just state your organization and location, please.
Hi, I'm Rohina, and my organization, actually it's a small organization in the name of Dreamers and Innovators. And I've been introduced to this forum by Brijesh, and I'm thankful to him So first of all, Asha ma'am, I want to congratulate you because, seeing women talk like this at this forum is very, very inspiring. So what I'm trying to do, Asha ma'am, is something which is, I would say, slightly unique. Not that it was a very planned journey. For me, it's an impromptu journey. So my journey is that, what is happening is the most important resource of a country is people.
Yes.
And the most important is the children of, the children who are going to be adults. Because, adults already have a little brain set, a brain wave functioning. So what my onus is, what my effort is that the younger children from the age of 12 years onwards, I'm trying to bridge the gap of our education system. What is happening is that, in our country, everybody is talking about that the education system is very outdated. What I'm trying to do is expose these children to more relevant issues.
Right.
So I conduct these, I pick up these issues where we're talking about the refugee crisis. We are trying to build the knowledge. We are trying to build what is the crisis that, like, typically what Greta Thunberg said at UN. Not too many children would probably know about it. What Elon Musk is doing, not many people in India know about it. To inspire the youth, to get them, to give them the voice without a feeling pressurized in a competitive environment, and bring them at par with the relevant, because you see, the global education can't be afforded by majority of India. So,
but the good news, Rohini, good news is right now that nobody needs a global education. Now the pandemic has changed the whole. You see, it is rebooting the world.
Right.
Where nobody needs to be in any foreign country. I mean, I think all this education, you can have access to it very easily now sitting on your laptop or on your cell phone.
That's right. So my effort is all about basically preparing the youth, preparing the children, and getting them, inspiring them to dream big. So as you were talking about Sundar Pichai, you're talking about Satya Nadella, that we call Satyam Shivam Sundaram, as it is. So just trying to inspire the children, trying to get them together by giving them, imparting them, bridging the gap that is there. So that's my initiative. And, I honestly did not come to this forum with anything in mind, but when I see you talking like this, and I just got the courage because there were quite other people also who were mentioning, I don't know if there's any way that I could be connected with somebody who's inspiring, in the sense who has, who can just guide me if that's my journey is correct, or if there's a direction I can follow, or because tons of dreams are there, but I don't know as yet how to pursue them.
So I think the best thing to do, Rohini, Rohina, is to really connect up with my team in India. So do connect. Of course, you already know Brijesh, but also get in touch with Chamni, so we can help you with the next steps. And I'm actually okay to, maybe in the next, I think in September, I should be able to do, few phone calls, Zoom calls with all of you. It's so easy these days, right? It's easy for me to meet you guys on a Zoom call, and maybe Brijesh, can you coordinate that? Maybe have 5 or 6 people per call, and I can work with. I can give some advice and also give some pointers on what next steps for somebody like Rohina. But Rohina, what you're doing right now is crucial, which is you're taking the first step, which is the intention. The first step is the intention. The intention that you want to make a difference and that you want to do something in this space, in this direction. That's the first crucial step. Once you have that intention, everything else works out.
So, ma'am, it has created a genuine difference in the youth. It really has created.
Rohina, thank you. There are a few more questions, so we need to kind of go to them.
Yes.
Yeah, Brijesh will also, just let us complete these questions. The last few minutes here, I want to invite Rahul BAKARE, who's again an entrepreneur from the Asia cohort. Rahul, over to you.
Good evening, ma'am. Asha, ma'am. Very nice presentation, I would say. Yes, it was quite inspiring to hear you. My question to you is that we are a company which is working in social impact. We are trying to solve the groundwater problem of India, and we are trying to make farming as well as the habitations, rural, urban habitations, more sustainable. My question is that how can we get help from the NRI foundations or through the crowdsourcing or through the philanthropists which are out there in US and can get their help to either raise funds or to support us in terms of doing this good work and taking it forward and making it a commercially successful venture?
First thing to do is to go to Kickstarter, Rahul.
Okay.
You see, go to something like Kickstarter. I mean, now there are thousands of other crowdfunding platforms. So if you go to something like Kickstarter, I think, or Indiegogo, right? What you have to do is you have to make that is a pretty involved journey to present your work and do the storytelling in a proper way is a lot of work, but it's worth it. What you need to do is you need to present the story of saying, look, here is what I'm building. A water purification plant or a system for let's say for rural areas, for agricultural areas, and this is what it's going to cost. You put it up on Kickstarter and you say that if you invest in this, let's say it's $100 and $100 per system. You're saying that if you put in this $100, it's going to give clean water supply to 10 children in so and so village. People will sign up for it as you must have seen on Kickstarter already. In thousands, you have a business right there. So the first thing to do is to go to something like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, tell the story, and just say to people that your reward is that those 10 to 20 children will get clean water thanks to your buying that pump for them.
Great.
Okay, thank you, Asha. So we've got 2 or 3 people. So what we'll do in the interest of time, Asha, all of them to ask the question, and you can jointly respond across the questions. We'll just have a very quick, brief question. So let me first invite Shakul. Shakul, your name of the organization, your location, and just a very one-sentence question.
Yes,
and then we'll go
sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So thank you so much, ma'am. So we are basically developing a SaaS product to help students and employees with disability. And so we want to leverage the American market because we already have a setup, well-established market for higher ed institutions and so on and so forth. So I wanted to understand, as an Indian company, how can we leverage the American market and then come back to India, because here we have to establish or start a new market altogether.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shakul.
So I'll just quickly give a quick concept to that. So I have a company called Cradlewise out of India. That is it's a baby product. They're already selling in the US. So that team is sitting in India, but it's a SaaS product. I think it's a baby product actually. It's a consumer company, but it's already selling in the US. So just take a look at it. Okay, it's called Cradlewise. It's a good sample to look at.
Thank you. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Next, again, Amit, a very quick question. Your organization, your location. Amit Chaudhary, over to you.
Hi, Ashaji. Good evening, and it's a pleasure to be here. Firstly, thank you, Brijesh. It was the last minute. I came with an open mind. I always fancied meeting you personally. I hail from London background, and then I moved on to Silicon. And I'm back in India where I'm solving all the grassroots level problems, be it education, healthcare, or waste management. I hold right now 3 companies under my belt. My basic question was, like you said, ecosystems are not well evolved in India. And for any entrepreneur, it's an opportunity and an obstacle that comes a long way. So my simple question is, how do we take high-end technologies, especially in a country like India? Some key strategies that you have something to share? I repeat, high-end technologies, to the grassroots level problems,
I think the grassroots. When you talk about grassroots, you're talking people in the last mile. They may not need high-end technology in the beginning. That they might. That's something that they probably can have later. But I think often at the grassroots, in areas of great poverty, we need simple things like electricity, clean water, and solar energy. Those I think are, those are probably the most urgent and pressing problems before we start. Before some of the village areas might want AI or machine learning. But that said, for irrigation, AI and machine learning is a must from the get-go.
Wonderful. Thank you, Asha. Last 1 or 2 questions. Avinash Pati Tripathi. Very brief question from you, Avinash. If Avinash is not there, we'll go to the next one. Nimesh Sharma. Nimesh?
Am I audible?
Yeah. Avinash, go ahead.
Okay, I'll take very few minutes. Actually, thank you first of all for supporting the non-IITians. I am from not from IIT. I am Avnish Tripathi, and I am working in waste to energy field. Basically, in the biodegradable, we use anaerobic respiration and then convert it into biosynthesis. So basically, what I have done till now, I have basically installed various plants with ITC, Indian Army, Indian Railways, and all. Right now, what issue, what really motivates me? I don't think that if you will guys will go to trains, and on Indian Railways and all, and you will see the crowd is increasing so much in so much quantity that Indian transport system will not be able to handle for much more. So what my plan is to convert, give an alternative to, renewable energy alternative to that. And we have already done it. We have a plan. We have, made a model, and it have already worked in Kolkata and all. So basically, what I was, asking, my issue is a little bit complex, but I will take just 1 minute.
Actually, Avinash, this is we are really end. So if you have a question, yeah, just in one line.
Okay. So how do I, move ahead? Because it's after this project will be, very big. The investment will be very huge. So how do I move ahead after this?
I think Asha will give you a short response, but Asha has already given her executive assistant Chandni's email address, chandni@mitli.com. You can write to her and they can engage with you. But Asha, any quick
I think the good news with Avinash's company is that he already has customers in Indian Railways and Indian some of the government customers. This is actually a fabulous start already.
Okay.
This is Avinash, your company is probably something that most angel and VC investors would be looking for because you already have a customer base, a local customer base. This is great news.
Actually, we have worked for 5 years actually on this.
Thank you, Avinash.
That's amazing.
Nimesh, last question from the audience. Nimesh, are you there?
Yes, I am there.
Okay, yeah. Again, very brief. Your name, your organization, your location, and the one-line question, if you can, please.
Okay, so Asha ma'am, I'm Nimesh Sharma from Delhi. I run a community called Makers Collective, wherein I have people from all across India who have diverse backgrounds, as in art and craft, handicraft, bamboo, metal, ceramic, all kinds of things. So we are working to help all of them scale up, grow, and connect to people outside their states and work together. So I just want to ask you, can you suggest how do we grow this initiative? So going ahead, we plan to hold workshops for all of them, topic-wise, how to leverage technology, how to brand themselves and get access to better resources. So how can we grow this initiative?
Are you currently on Amazon platform? The Amazon, I think it's called Amazon selling platform or something like. Are you on that already?
Okay, no, we are not there as of now.
You must go to it right away.
Okay.
And because that one has not just an outlet where you can sell not just to the Indian market, but you can also sell abroad, and it's very easy. You must go to Amazon. I think it's called Amazon India. I think it's just called Amazon India or something like that. But I'll make sure that
it's Amazon seller. Amazon seller.
Amazon seller. I think just go to that, Nimesh, and you can amplify your efforts by 10, 20 times.
We are not just a sales platform for all these people. We want to make them grow as a community, not just by sales, but by mentoring them as into business people.
I think that's a great idea. But remember that most entrepreneurs are smarter than us. Okay.
Right. Of course.
All they need to have is a connection. They need to have a community, and they'll run with it. Most of them don't need much mentoring. Trust me.
All right.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nimesh. And yeah, we've gone a few minutes over, but one final question from me, which should be hopefully of relevance to the audience as well. So you have two avatars of a philanthropist as an investor, and you're pretty active in the India-US corridor. Anything that would be kind of make it easier for the people in the audience to understand in terms of, are there any themes or attributes or parameters which, if these conditions are met, then it's more likely that I'll support either as a philanthropist or as an investor?
Sanjay, remember that as a venture capitalist, if one is a venture capitalist job is to really make sure that they invest in a company that is profitable and that's going to make a profit sooner or later. Now, that said, venture capitalists must also remember that once you invest, you could lose all your money, which is fine. That's why it's called venture. Venture means risk capital. But our primary goal is to invest in companies that that hold a promise of a return on investment. That's a venture capital. Philanthropic work is still investment, but it is a patient capital, as a lot of people call it. It's called patient capital, which is you wait for 20 years for some return on investment, and sometimes return on investment can be simply good of a certain community, right? Something, some social impact on a certain community. That's fine too. So for me, I just want to make sure that people who are doing either a social impact company or a for-profit startup, that they've really thought through a return on investment. They've thought through the profit angle. Remember, profit is an important, extremely, we Indians need to start respecting the word profit because it's an important thing. We should not be embarrassed about it. We should not doubt it. Profit is a gift. It is important that we do anything that is profitable. It is a must.
Right.
Okay, so that's my parting words, that profit is a sacred word, and think about it. Whatever business you do, it has to be sustainable, and for it to be sustainable, you need to make a profit. Okay. So wishing you all the best. Sanjay, thank you again for having me on your platform. This has been a delight, and I hope I ignited a few other young minds in India.
Wonderful. Yeah, the past 100 minutes now, if you short to 100 minutes. So it's been the chock-a-block of insights and practical advice and opportunity. Yeah, you even offered to follow with some of the entrepreneurs. So there's nothing more that these folks could ask. We should do this a little bit more. Yeah, you addressed us in 2018. Then we're doing it in 2020.
I think Sanjay, what you are enabling right now is very interesting. We should probably do this once in 2 months.
Wonderful.
Let's do it once in 2 months. I'm happy to come because look, right now with this kind of a Zoom virtual platform, I don't have to go physically anywhere. I can call in. Let's do this once in 2 months.
Awesome. I'll coordinate with Chandni. And thanks again for taking the time to do this.
Most wonderful. Thank you for having me. Okay, goodbye.